Let's say you meet someone and she's amazing. She might be the one. But it turns out that you'd had a one-night stand with her mama. What to do? What to do? It's the
Bob and Sheri Oddcast. The Bob and Sheri Oddcast. Come on in, you'll have a blast with the Bob and Sheri Oddcast.
I love me some Reddit. Reddit is my favorite rabbit hole in the whole wide world. And there's a subforum, a subreddit called Dear Reddit, Today I Effed Up. And I would like to read you a post. And I would like your thoughts. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. And it's a man. And he writes, I live in a pretty big town. However, there are only 3 decent clubs. So it's pretty common to bump into the same strangers every now and then. A couple of months ago, I was at this nice rock bar with a live band, drinking with a big group of work friends. I noticed a blonde woman glanced over at me a few times, so I go up to her, make some small talk, and ask for her number, as I couldn't really leave my friends. We texted a little bit. Nothing came of it. A week later, I bump into her again. We talk for longer. Decide to grab a couple of drinks, and I end up going back to her house to spend the night. I noticed that she was a lot older, maybe around 40, than anyone else I've ever slept with before. And I'm 21, so it's pretty much double my age. But she looked good, so I figured I'd learn a thing or two. And all I've learned now is how to regret more efficiently. Because I moved on and forgot all about it. Then a couple of weeks ago, I met a girl on Tinder, 19. Remember, he's 21. We hit it off, and after a few really good dates, she invites me back to her place. As I'm walking down the street, I notice it's the same one I've been on before. My heart sank when I watched this lovely girl turn to face me, saying, "This is mine," while gesturing at the same door that I went through for a cheap one-night stand. And suddenly I see the resemblance. Quickly, I compliment her house and ask her how long she's lived there, grasping at any flimsy straw. She said, "My whole life, pretty much. Just me, my parents, my little sister, and the dog." Everyone was home, and I knew this, and I had to tell her. She was shocked, very shocked when she realized that I wasn't joking when I got her mom's name right. I knew she was level-headed from our first few dates, so actually she understood and didn't attack me for it. We agreed we can't keep seeing each other, duh, but I really like her, which is kind of rare for me, so it sucks. She didn't mention her parents' marriage, and I do not want to ask. I also don't know how the house was free a couple of months ago. All I know is, Reddit, I effed up.
Mrs. Robinson.
So here's the question. Could any of us, could I continue to date a man that had a one-nighter with my mom? Could you date a woman that had a one-nighter with your dad? Where's your comfort level in all of this? Because we live in very, very different and much more casual and open times.
So the question for me would be what?
Could you date a woman who had a hookup with your dad? Assuming, he's alive and you're single and whatever.
Oh, yeah, because I was having trouble relating to that. No.
Can you articulate why?
Yes, because she was screwing my father. I can't be any more articulate than that.
Interesting response. So I've thought about this a lot because obviously I've read this Reddit post and have had a lot more time than you guys to sit with
I think that was a one-night stand, by the way, with I think that she's still married to the girl's father. And I think
she just had a wild night.
She was just screwing a kid on the side.
So I've had more time to think about it. And also I'm a woman. And, we have very different, we're socialized to think about sex and territoriality and ego and all of that very, very differently. And here's where I am with that. My mom is such a particular person. She is so tightly controlled and organized. I mean, she sleeps in a made bed every night and doesn't mess up the blankets so that she can wake up in a made bed. Let's pause here. Any man that could happily fuck my mother, I don't know what we'd have in common. So that's why I would have to be out.
Your mother,
and my mom is,
your mother needs to buy.
My mom is beautiful.
Yes, she is, and she's young, but
and smart.
She needs to buy a coffin so that way she won't mess up the bed
or the couch or anything.
Just climb into the coffin
like
every
Grandpa
night.
Munster.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to suggest that to her. So yeah, I've given it a lot of thought because you say to yourself like, do you want to really throw away the possibility of true love on a technicality? But that one,
here's why.
Here's
why they never should date. First of all, they're very, very young. So the likelihood of them being together, I'm not saying it can't be done. It can be done. But she's 19. He's 21.
I agree
It's a longer haul. People are living longer. So are you telling me that you're going to be with him for, I don't know, 70 years? And for every one of those 70 years, that he had sex with your mother. I just think if you just step back from it, no matter how much they had in common, right, long term, maybe date for a while.
Well, there's
but long term, holy cow.
I wonder if that awkwardness ever dissipates.
I guess it could some. I mean
here
with time,
comes holidays.
Right. And time will take the edge off of a lot of discomfort or pain. It just does for human beings. But still, you still have that kind of hanging there. And what about the father? You're going to keep this from the father for the rest of his life if he's in? And even if they're divorced, now you've given him some ammo to hate his ex-wife.
Well, the way the post was written, she lives with her parents.
That's why
sister
I
and
thought
the dog.
that. Yeah.
I assume dad is in the mix in some way.
I think the mother just said, there's a young guy. I haven't had a young guy in a long time. Having a couple of drinks. I'm going to have some fun.
It's one of those situations that is so complicated. And I know, the heart wants what it wants, blah, blah. But do you remember we had a caller on the show whose husband began an affair with her mother, and it ended, of course, their marriage ended.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't do her relationship with her mother any favors.
Right.
And I think that's actually worse. I think it is so much worse to have a guy that you're dating have had a hookup with your mom before you even met him than to have your husband and father of your children having a love affair with your mother while you're married to him. Can we all agree that's worse?
I'm so confused by what you just said. What was that?
We had a caller on the show.
Yeah.
She was married, and I think they had 2 children, young kids.
Right.
And she found out that her husband was having an affair.
Right.
With her mother.
With her mother, that's right.
Marriage over.
Yeah.
No favors to her relationship with her mom.
Right.
I think on the list of Freudian motherfucking crimes, literally and metaphorically, that one's worse.
Yeah, maybe so.
Oh, you think that one's not worse?
No, it is. It is. I'm so confused by who's screwing who here right now that I can't keep it all straight. You were with my father, really? How did that take place?
We also had a caller who had an affair with her best friend's dad and kept it a secret from her best friend.
Yeah, well, that's
when
a little
she was
easier,
in her early 20s.
Yeah, that's a little bit easier to take. But
now, why is that easier to take?
Because
it's your best friend, not a lover.
Yeah, well, because it's not as close to the family. It's one family removed. But the idea that your father is chasing the young stuff is disgusting. By the way, that Woody Allen quote, "The heart wants what it wants."
That quote.
I hate that quote.
I think it is such a rationalization. It's such a cop out.
It's total. You know what it was? The penis wants what it wants. That's all that was.
The thing is, I know the heart one. We all know what it feels like to have the heart want what it wants, but at what price?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to say to the heart, sit down.
Yeah.
It's not going to go that way. It's not going to happen for you that way.
It's not like she was the only person possible in the world for him to fall in love with.
And yet he would argue otherwise. Look how happily together they've been for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
He would argue otherwise. That's a whole other conversation.
I wonder if Woody Allen would go down that same road. If he could go into the Wayback Machine, would he go down the same road if he knew that his autobiography, as he enters the last stage of his life, would be turned down by 4 New York publishers because of his dalliances in the past?
I think he would.
I don't know.
I think
it hurt his career in Hollywood. It's ruined. He was on the cover of Time magazine. Hear the words, comic genius.
Yeah. I think, all right, let's get Max and Todd in here.
That's been besmirched.
Here's why. Oh, I feel like I'm on the high school debate team. Here's why I will argue in the affirmative that he would gamble his legacy, because he clearly was so in love with her that he was willing to risk everything to be with her.
You're talking about Woody Allen.
Yeah, I think he thought we'll go to you in a second, Max. I think he thought he could get away with it.
I think that's true too.
He is not getting away with it.
But you're saying, is he going back if he could go back in the Wayback Machine, would he do it differently?
I say that, I want to hear Max's opinion on this. I say that Woody Allen is more enamored with his work than any woman.
I think that was true before her. Max, what are your thoughts here? Now, keep in mind, we're offering him a chance to go into the Wayback Machine, knowing everything that he knows, and to make that decision again. Would he make it differently?
Involving his wife?
Involving Sun Yi and what it meant to choose that, to let the heart have what it wanted.
And I don't know that his current problems are necessarily connected to her. There was the woman that came forward.
Right.
That was the teenager who said, "You know that movie Manhattan where he was sleeping with the high school girl? That was me."
Oh, yeah. But let's face it, the endless stories in the press.
I think
Dylan Farrow, Ronan Farrow, Mia Farrow.
Yeah.
Was Mariel Hemingway accusing him of something?
No. It was someone else.
It was somebody else. No, there was an actual.
Said the character was based on her.
It was based on her.
Yeah.
I think he would do it again.
I think
because
he would too.
I watched there was a movie that was sort of a documentary about his life that was out. I want to say 15 years ago or so, and to see the two of them together, you realize that she's kind of the boss. Sun Yi is.
Yeah.
In that relationship, you're thinking, oh, she's this demure,
no,
no, she was kind of the boss in that situation. So I would say that given everything, yeah, you don't want your career to go away. I mean, but certainly how old is he? He's in his 80s now, right?
Yeah, but he's been struggling with being a scumbag over this for 25 years now. So, and this guy is a comic genius. And I think that to have that brilliance besmirched is
so. What is more important? What is happening on your day-to-day life and the person you live with, or your career? What is more important?
It depends.
And so I would say if he had it to do over again, he would do it the same way if he is indeed happy in his situation with her.
Here's why I feel as Max does, because from all accounts, and it's been years now, they are blissfully happy. So outside his front door, it's a shit show for Woody Allen. But he closes that door and he has that rarest of things. There are so many people, there are people listening right now who have never had love. Not really. And it is the thing that human beings chase and chase and chase. All the songs are about it. All the poems are about it. If it's true, and from all accounts it is, then I think he would do it again. I think that focus on legacy and career, he doesn't need the money. So it's not like he's going hungry. His ego took a beating. His legacy definitely is in the dumper. But what happens behind closed doors, as Max said, when the world isn't watching?
I just think some people realize what their gift is. If you take someone like Picasso knew what his gift was.
Well,
and for anything to get between that gift and him, I don't know a lot about Picasso, but as Picasso said, what was the interchange between Picasso's mother and him. If you were to be a soldier, you would be a general. If you were to be a painter, you would be Picasso. You know, I mean, there are certain artists, their work is just so extraordinary that nothing would replace it in their lives. And I'm just not so sure about Woody Allen. Why would he, you bring up money and you bring up legacy and all, why would he at this age still continue to want to be perceived and to do the work? It's because it is intrinsically a part of him.
But clearly, when he was at the intersection of choice, he chose knowing full well that there would be judgment and scandal. Maybe he gambled that the judgment and scandal would not cast such a long shadow.
That's what I think.
And maybe he thinks that whatever prudish judgment is laying over top of his career today,
it'll pass.
It'll pass, and that he may suffer now, but at some point in the future, after he's gone, his image will be rehabilitated. And so what the fuck ever. He's happy now with his wife and he's living his best life. And what other people think of him is none of his business. Isn't that a possibility? Because if you think about it, yeah, okay, those publishing houses turned down his autobiography. And Netflix canceled a deal with him after that woman came forward. But he's been making movies every year since this whole scandal broke. And top line performers have happily worked with him, right?
Right.
So he really only just started suffering like a minute ago.
Yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, I heard him called a sick puppy 25 years ago by radio personalities in New York. So he's been dealing with this for a long time.
And those are people for whom he has no respect.
But people seem to forgive it. They went, all right, fine.
They did for a while.
We'll just forgive it. And you know, I mean, he's done some great movies, big hits, critical successes, and Hollywood loved him. The Midnight in Paris, was a big hit, and I don't know if it won an Oscar. I think it was nominated.
The one artist that I could think of who would turn his back on it for his woman would be John Lennon.
Yeah.
And did.
Yeah.
Actually.
Love, like real love, true love, and I have no idea what goes on with Woody Allen and Sun Yi. Who the freak knows? But I do know that real, true love, like that really deep connection, is rare. And I think that when people have that, everything is up for grabs. Everything.
You know, you're making me think very introspectively here. Could I give up Bob's High Horse
for
love with Mary, you know? And the answer is I would go with Mary. I'd get off my high horse.
Now, from the Bob and Sheri studios, it's time for the bit called Bob's High Horse. Now, your host up there where the air is rare, it's Bob Lacey.
I'm coming for you, honey. I'm coming.
Here's what I know, Bob. Even if you gave all of this up for Mary, it is genetically impossible for you to get your ass off that high horse. You are who you are. You will always be astride Bob's high horse.
I'll give you that point. I will give you that point. Max, would you remind me to do Bob's High Horse this week?
Why do you never do Bob's High Horse? You know what? Let's wrap this Oddcast up with a special treat for our listeners. How many in the graveyard of Bob's notions do you have at hand, Max? I know that you don't have all of them on the instant replay to hit the buttons.
Oh.
But there's a lot. Bob's Big Quiz, Bob's Big Test.
Table of Wisdom, Bob's Hip Hop Report.
I miss Bob's Hip Hop Report. Can we play that one? Can you find it?
Gangsta Boogie, Gangsta Boogie.
Yo, what's up?
Look out, it's time for that Hip Hop Report from the notorious B.O.B. Give it up, B.O.B., give it up.
You know, I'm going to bring one of these pieces of shit back.
What else you got, Max? Max works so hard on
Now it's time for
The table of wisdom.
Well, that you can't blame that. I pitched that hard, and the audience just didn't bite on it.
What happened to Club Bob? Didn't we used to have a bit called Club Bob, where Bob would tell a joke?
Those are just jokes. That was replaced by what do I do with the joke thing?
It's a joke?
It's a joke, yeah. It's a joke is an updated version of Club Bob.
One of my favorite Bob bits, he said, I have a new idea for a feature. It's going to be great. It made me laugh so hard, and because I liked it, he only did it once, and he will not do it again. You spiteful bitch. Okay, are you ready?
What was it?
It was so funny. Bob said, all right, the name of this bit is Nope. And he would read some trend that was going around viral on the internet. And he would go through the whole thing. And at the end of it, he would say, that's a nope. And just hearing him say that, I was on the floor laughing. And because it gave me pleasure, you've denied it to me.
I'll do it again this week. Yeah, sometimes I just forget about these things.
I don't see you writing anything down. I'm worried.
Right up here.
Oh, yeah.
The old steel trap.
Oh, it's right here.
It's right there.
Yeah. All right. So name the bits that you're going to bring back.
I'm going to bring back. I don't want to do the hip hop report anymore. I'll bring back Nope.
Okay.
And what was the first one I was going to bring back?
Bob's High Horse.
Bob's High Horse.
The steel trap.
Yeah.
Open the door before you put stuff in.
That's true.
I would have to go through here and look because some of these are old.
And we did. Bob would say, Max, can you create me an opening for fill in the blank? And Max would stay late. And Max is a genius at finding just the right sound of music. And he would craft these works of art. And then Bob would do it exactly once and never again.
Yeah. I think with the High Horse, I've just become more a man of the people. You know?
Do you think?
I'm not on my high horse as much. I got... Dear listeners, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And be sure to listen to the Bob and Sheri regular broadcast for some exciting features brought back from our past.
And he's not going to forget, because where did he put it?
The old steel trap.
That's it for today's Oddcast. The heart wants what it wants. The steel trap wants what it wants. We'll see if it remembers to bring it to work tomorrow. New episodes every Monday, Friday. Fun size. New episodes every Thursday. It's about 10 minutes long. New episodes. It is hosted by Max. Perfect for sharing on Facebook and Twitter with your friends so that we may remain ever employed. Appreciate you. Catch you next time. Hey, thank you so much for listening to the Bob and Sheri podcast and the Bob and Sheri Oddcast. We would love if you would subscribe, rate and review, and share it with a friend on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you go. And thank you again for listening.